Very good morning to you. Objective geology, multiple choice questions with answers. This is the solved question paper of BHU 2020 question paper. And I hope this solved question paper is useful for various competitive exams like CSIR, NET, GATE, GSI and other competitive exams. Welcome to set 4. First question. A narrow landform connecting an island to the mainland is called A. Jetty, B. Spit, C. Tambolo, D. Barrier. The correct option goes as a C. Tambolo. A narrow landform connecting an island to the mainland is called a tambolo. A tambolo is a deposition landform where a sand or gravel bar or spit connects an island to the mainland, effectively tying the island to the larger landmass. So a narrow landform connecting an island to the mainland is called tambolo. C is the correct option. Next question. Arcoses form under the following set of conditions. A. Intensified tectonics and dry climate. B. Intensified tectonics and humid climate. C. Slow tectonics and humid climate. And D. Slow tectonics and dry climate. Arcoses form under intensified tectonics and dry climate. Arco sandstones are often associated with high rates of erosion and limited chemical weathering, which can be influenced by both intensified tectonics and dry climates. Intensified tectonics can lead to uplift and rapid erosion, providing the necessary feldspar-rich sediments, while a dry climate it minimizes chemical breakdown of the feldspar during transport and deposition, allowing it to be incorporated into the sandstone. So arcoses form under intensified tectonics and dry climate. A is the correct option. Next question. The mountain range dividing the Ganges plain and the Deccan plateau is A. The Hindu Kush, B. The Aravalli, C. The Satpura, and D. The Vindhyan. The mountain range dividing the Ganges plain and the Deccan plateau is the Vindhyan. The Vindhyan range divides the Ganges plain and the Deccan plateau. It acts as a natural boundary between the northern plains and the Deccan plateau. The Vindhyans are a complex, discontinuous chain of mountain ridges and hills in west central India. Next question. Orthopyroxene and biotite show straight extinction. Biotite belongs to which crystallographic class? A. Tetragonal, B. Monoclinic, C. Hexagonal, and D. Orthorhombic. Biotite is a monoclinic mineral. It belongs to the mica group and it is characterized by its flexible sheet-like structure and perfect basal cleavage. And biotite typically forms tabular or prismatic crystals with a pseudo-hexagonal shape, often exhibiting a pinacoid termination. Next question. Pleochroism is observed in thin sections of minerals crystallizing in A. Monoclinic system, B. Triclinic system, C. Hexagonal system, and D. All of the three. The correct option goes as a D. All of the three. Pleochroism can be observed in thin sections of minerals belonging to monoclinic, triclinic, and hexagonal crystal systems. Pleochroism is the property of a mineral to exhibit different colors when viewed under plane polarizer light at different orientations due to variations in light absorption based on the crystal's orientation. Next question. Glucophane schist phase characterizes a region with A. Steep pressure temperature gradient, B. High temperature, C. Intermediate pressure temperature gradient, and D. Barrovian type of metamorphism. Glucophane schist phase characterizes a region with steep pressure temperature gradient. A is the correct option. Next question. Natural levees form due to deposition in A. Floodplain, B. Channel fill, C. Point bar, and D. Braiding plain. Natural levees form due to deposition in the floodplain. So these are indeed formed by deposition of a sediment in a floodplain, which is specifically during periods of flooding. So when a river overflows its banks, the water velocity decreases, causing the river's sediment load to be deposited. The heavier, coarser sediments like sand are deposited closer to the river channel, forming the elevated ridges known as natural levees, while the finer sediments like silt and clay are carried further out onto the floodplain. So natural levees form due to deposition in the floodplain. A is the correct option. Next question. Which geological period is called the age of fishes? Very simple question. A. Silurian, B. Devonian, C. Carboniferous, and D. Ordovician. So obviously Devonian is called the age of the fishes. The Devonian period is widely known as the age of the fishes, and this period, which occurred roughly 419 to 359 million years ago, It saw a significant diversification and abundance of fish, making them the dominant vertebrates in the Earth's aquatic environments. Next question. The landform created by tectonic shift of a river channel is A. Wind gap, B. Air gap, C. Seismic gap, and D. Water gap. So the correct option goes as A. Wind gap. Wind gaps can be associated with the past river activity and tectonic uplift. They are primarily formed by steep capture, where a river diverts its flow from one channel to another due to erosion. Tectonic shifts can create features like rift valleys, which can influence the river system. The landform created by tectonic shift of a river channel might be A. Wind gap is the correct option. Next question. Which of the following minerals may show fibrous habit? A. Sillimanite, B. Kyanite, C. Diapside, and D. Andalusite. So the correct option goes as A. Sillimanite. Sillimanite can exhibit a fibrous habit, and this fibrous variety is specifically known as fibrolite. Fibrolite appears as a mass of twisted fibers when viewed in thin section or even with the naked eye. Both the fibrous and more typical prismatic forms of sillimanite are common in metamorphosed sedimentary rocks. Next question. Which of the following statements is correct? A. A metamorphic facies is a set of mineral assemblages in metamorphic rocks formed under similar pressures and temperature. B. Low pressure temperature minerals. C. Intermediate pressure temperature minerals. And D. High pressure temperature special minerals. So the option A is the correct option. Metamorphic facies are a set of mineral assemblages that form under specific temperature and pressure conditions during metamorphism, regardless of the original rock type. They are used to classify and understand metamorphic rocks based on their mineral composition, which reflects the conditions under which they are formed. So A is the correct option. Next question. A depth in the ocean below which no calcareous tests are preserved in sediments is called A. Carbonate lysocline, B. Aragonite compensation depth, C. Calcite compensation depth, and D. Supra-lysocline. So the correct option goes as a C. Calcite compensation depth. The depth in the ocean below which calcareous tests are not preserved in sediments is called the carbonate compensation depth or CCD. So at this depth, the rate of calcium carbonate dissolution, it equals the rate of supply, preventing the accumulation of calcareous sediments. So a depth in the ocean below which no calcareous tests are observed or are preserved in the sediments is called calcite compensation depth. Next question. The maximum number of planes of symmetry found in known crystal systems is A. 9, B. 11, C. 6, D. 5. The maximum number of planes of symmetry found in a crystal system is 9. So this occurs in the normal class of the isometric system. These 9 planes include 3 principal axial planes and 6 diagonal planes. Next question. Large longitudinal dunes with flat tops are called A. Sandhill, B. Birchens, C. Natural levees, and D. Siph dunes. So the correct option goes as a D. Siph dunes. Large flat top longitudinal dunes are typically called Siph dunes. So these dunes are elongated and pronounced, forming in areas with the 2 dominant wind directions that are not directly opposite. So Siph dunes are a type of linear dune characterized by sharp linear ridges which run parallel to the prevailing wind direction. Next question. Tie lines in a chemographic triangular diagram join minerals that A. which are in the thermodynamic equilibrium, B. coexist in thin sections, C. have sharp contacts with each other, and D. all of the 3. Tie lines in a chemographic triangular diagram join materials that are in thermodynamic equilibrium. A is the correct option. Next question. Which of the following rocks is relatively enriched in iron, magnesium, chromium, cobalt, and nickel content? A. Garnet peridotite, B. Basalt, C. Gabbro, D. Dunite. So the correct option goes as A. Garnet peridotite. Garnet peridotite is relatively enriched in iron, magnesium, chromium, cobalt, and nickel. Peridotite in general, it is an ultramafic rock rich in iron and magnesium. Garnet peridotite specifically contains garnet as a key mineral, and the presence of the garnet can influence the overall elemental composition. which lead to the higher concentration of elements like chromium, cobalt, and nickel. So the correct option is garnet period, right? It is relatively enriched in iron, magnesium, chromium, cobalt, and nickel. Next question. Superposition of beds follows A. Walther's law, B. Stokes' law, C. Darcy's law, and D. Law of uniformitarianism. Superposition of beds follows Walther's law. The superposition of beds, which is a fundamental principle in geology, stating that the oldest layers are at the bottom and the youngest at the top, it follows the Walther's law. The Walther's law, it describes how different sedimentary facies, that means rock types which are formed in specific environments, can be found in stacked and vertically in a sequence that reflects the lateral changes in depositional environments over time. So superposition of beds follows Walther's law. A is the correct option. Next question. For proper optical observations, the angle between the polarizer and analyzer in a polarizing microscope must be A. 30 degrees, B. 45 degrees, C. 0 degrees, and D. 90 degrees. The correct option goes as a D. 90 degrees. For proper optical observations in a polarizing microscope, the angle between the polarizer and the analyzer is typically set to 90 degrees, creating what's known as a crossed polars or cross-Nicholl condition. Next question. Karst topography is found in A. granitic country, B. limestone country, C. basaltic country, and D. sandstone country. Karst topography is typically found in regions underlined by soluble rocks like limestone, and these are characterized by features formed by the dissolution of these rocks such as sinkholes, caves, and underground drainage systems. So the term karst, it originates from the karst plateau in Europe, known for its distinctive limestone formation. So karst topography is found in B. limestone country is the correct option. Next question. The crystal system in which majority of minerals crystallize is A. monoclinic system, B. orthorhombic system, C. cubic system, and D. tetragonal system. The crystal system in which majority of the minerals crystallize is in the monoclinic system. A is the correct option. Next is tips to prepare for competitive exam. Basing on the request of a number of students or candidates, so I have prepared tips to prepare for the competitive exam. So number first is go through the entire syllabus. So for suppose if you are preparing for CSR exam or ONGC or UPSC exam, first the primary requisite is everybody do, that is very important. This is go through the entire syllabus. In this, you should have a glance at each chapter or a paper or unit. So what constitutes that chapter? So that means what are the important things in that one? So you should have a complete glance, because remembering the words in that each and every chapter, it plays a very crucial role and it covers the entire syllabus. And you have to make the priorities. That means the priority chapters according to the marks. Suppose if you have specified chapters like if you do mineralogy, academic geology, petrology, they constitute more marks, and you have to make or read the priority chapters. Another important thing or the next step is you have to make a schedule, or how you have to plan the schedule. So for this, you should have either suppose if you have a long-term goal, that means if you are writing an exam within a year or more than that, and you have ample time, so the schedule, it may vary like that. So you should have a long-term goal. And if you are preparing for exam within a 3 months, that is, you should have a short-term goal. That means if you are going to finish the syllabus within the 3 months or more than that, then you have to plan the schedule accordingly. Suppose if you are going to write an exam within a month, so these are the very short-term goals. Suppose if you are you have to prepare for the weekly plan or day-to-day plan. So because days constitutes of weeks, very, very, very important. Every day reading is very essential, and every day repeating the syllabus or the thing what you have covered is very important. So for this important thing which plays a very focused on reading is important, that is hourly reading. So what is this hourly reading? Because most of the people think that they have huge syllabus, they can't complete within that time. But if you have plan, it is possible. So hourly reading means you have to divide each hour into 4 time chunks. This is I'm giving an example. You can make accordingly. Suppose if you are making an hour into 4 time chunks or 3 time chunks or 2 time chunks is as per your ease. So like that you have to divide each hour. So 4 15-minute chunks, it comes to an hour. Okay, and meanwhile you can take a break like 5 or 2 minutes like that, and you can finish. Suppose within a 15 minutes time you can reach like 4 chapters or 4 units or anything, whichever easy. So like that you have to divide each hour into 4 time chunks. And another important thing is the revise the syllabus. The syllabus revision is very important. This syllabus, how much you have to read and then revise. So for this, suppose if you are writing the exam within an year, then you can have the number of revisions like 2 or 3. So suppose if you are writing the exam within 3 months, then you can have a 1 or 2 revisions. So like that. So but this is very important, repeat. So most of the people, students, what they do is they read more and they forget more as well. So the thing is, whatever you read daily, so you have to revise that accordingly. So suppose if you have reading this much of syllabus at the per day, the next morning you have to revise, or you have to take a book and take a notes, and then you have to write what the topics, difficult points, you have to memorize that part. So this will help in remembering the things. So there is no shortcut, but here only the thing is very important thing is you have to revise the syllabus and you have to repeat that process. And another important step is practice previous year's question papers. So this is very important. How many question papers you have solved, and you can make a time unit, and then you can measure your time, or like that you can practice, or you can learn and then practice. So how many years of question papers, suppose 20 or 30, you can solve that. There are number of books are there, so that you can plan accordingly, and you have to practice the previous year question paper. For each exam, now books are available. Suppose if it's a CSR or ONGC or GATE exam or GSI. So like that, you have to prepare the previous year question papers. What is the pattern and how many marks? Is there any negative marking? Is there any assertion reading type, assertion reasoning is there? Like that, you have to read, and then you have to make out the points accordingly, like formula based, or then theoretical points, or any solving problems are there. So like that. And another important step, the next step is measure your goals. So why this plays an important role? Because uh, as the syllabus is huge, people will desperate very easily. That means I have covered this much is left over, this much is have not studied, I'm feeling nervous, like that the feelings may come. But the thing is, if you measure your goals, means how much you have covered exactly, and what are the things which are not covered, so that you can write it on a paper or notebook, so that you can plan for the things which are not covered, or if they are not that much important, you can omit, like that. So this measure your goals, it will give you a confidence, and so that your attitude may change, and you will have that like whatever the thing I have prepared very well. So like that type of attitude or behavioral action is very important for any exam. So you should have faith, and then these are the different 4 or 5 steps which are very essential to prepare for any competitive exam. In the next video, I'll make some more tips so that you can secure more marks, and this may be helpful to you. So thank you for your time. These are some of the suggested books. Hope you can take a photocopy or screenshot. Thank you for your time. See you in the next video.